Football is brought to you by Exxon Phase 4 gasolines. For high performance and cleaner engines, rely on new Phase 4 gasolines from Exxon. By Infinity, who invites you to guest drive their full line of performance luxury automobiles. By BC Headache Powder. Pain reliever is what stops a headache, and BC has more pain reliever than goodies. By Lowe's, where home improvements begin. By Buick and your local Buick dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. And by Schlitz Malt Liquor. No one does it like the Bull.
Halftime at Williams-Brice Stadium. The Clemson Tigers leading the Gamecocks of South Carolina by a score of 17-10. Brad Nessler and Jack Corrigan, along with 74,000 of our close friends on a gorgeous day here. And it's been a good football game, Jack. You know, we talked about earlier the differences between the two quarterbacks, but that they can both get the job done, and they have so far through 2 quarters.
Well, in our pregame analysis on the ACC football today, we rated that category even, and they've played evenly in the first half. Deshaun Cameron was the key for Clemson, and Bobby Fuller for South Carolina. Here is the touchdown run of Deshaun Cameron. It was the second touchdown of the afternoon, a 31-yard scamper off the quarterback draw, as Cameron had an outstanding first half of running and throwing the football. 125 yards of total offense. At the time, that made the score 17-7. But Bobby Fuller had a good first half as well. In fact, threw for 185 yards in the first half. He put a score on the board for South Carolina when they were down 10-0, moving the team down the field on a long pass to David Pitchko, and then under pressure, finding Robert Brooks out in the right flat, and Brooks just makes about 4 outstanding moves to get into the end zone for the Gamecocks. It made it 10-7. After the touchdown by Cameron made it 17-7, they came back, and in the closing seconds, Marty Simpson nailed a field goal that cut the margin back to 17-10, as we are just about set for second half action.
Statistically, close ball game, and fairly close as you take a look. And Clemson doing it on the ground with 131 yards rushing. And as Jack said, Deshaun Cameron has 125 in total offense. But the passing of the Gamecocks, their quick strike passing game that they've had all year, has made the total offense pretty even. You take away that turnover and we might have a tie game, but of course that interception on South Carolina's opening drive, the difference so far. And as we head to the third quarter, 17-10, the Tigers out in front. And they won the toss at the beginning of the game, deferred to the second half, so Clemson will have the football first here to start the third quarter. Marty Simpson with a kick. Line drive. Lance Easton picks it up, trying to get to the corner, and won't quite get there. Brought down at the 27-yard line. Antonio Walker made the stop on the special teams, so Clemson's Tigers working from their own 27-yard line.
Deshaun Cameron, 5 of 6 passing for the 55 yards. The 70 yards rushing came on 9 carries. As I mentioned, he averages 166 yards a game in total offense, so he's well above the halfway mark through the first 30 minutes.
Here we go to start the third quarter. Cameron to throw on first down. Got it out complete. Great move. Terry Smith with great speed. What a way to start the third quarter.
Frank Adams saved the touchdown, but Terry Smith, as I said last week, is going to rewrite the receiving record book in Clemson. A hometown boy making good in a big way. And Clemson coming out of the locker room doing just what they wanted. Inside the 15-yard line of South Carolina.
Just short of the Gamecocks' 10 is where Clemson will have it offensively. Terry Smith, the home run hitter for the Tigers.
He had caught a 52-yarder this year, and that was right around the same total.
That one goes 63 yards to the 10-yard line. 2 tight ends in the ball game.
right now for Clemson. And I'm not sure, Deshaun Cameron looking to the sidelines like, is this what you want to have? Or
a lone wide receiver there to the bottom of your screen is Jason Davis. This is Rodney Blunt to the line of scrimmage. That's all. Gerald Dixon is there defensively.
Tony Watkins, the strong safety, didn't make the play, but he certainly helped Mr. Dixon make the play because he came flying. Watch him from the left side of your screen. Recognized the toss sweep action quickly, and that enabled the rest of that front line, led by Gerald Dixon, to make the stop after short yardage. In fact, no gain at all.
3 wide receivers for Deshaun Cameron on 2nd and 10. On the option. Cameron to the 6. Eric Brown draped over him along with Dixon again, the outside linebacker, and it will be 3rd down. And we've got an injured Tiger, Rudy Harris, down in the Clemson backfield, gets up limping.
That is one of the deeper positions for the Tigers, although it has also been beset with injuries. Harris has had a thumb problem. Howard Hall has had some knee problems. Tony Kennedy has also played at that spot. Paul Caputo has also played at that spot. I would imagine we're going to see Kennedy come into the ball game.
Harris had our first touchdown of the day, a 1-yarder to put Clemson on the board first.
It's going to be the junior Howard Hall out of Gastonia, North Carolina, that will replace Rudy Harris, the high school All-American out of Brockton, Massachusetts. He's the dive man in the triple option. And, oh, boy, he got stood straight up by Cedric Bembry and then got kicked as he went down.
3rd down. Cameron smothered first by Tony Watkins and then by Robert Gibson. And you have to love the way the Gamecocks defense settled in after giving up the big play on the opening snap of the 3rd quarter, Jack.
Well, much like we talked about earlier in the ball game, Brad, this is a moral victory for South Carolina. They'll settle for 3 points here rather than the 7. It keeps them less than 2 touchdowns behind if Nelson Welch converts, and of course Nelson's been converting all year long.
This is a 22-yard attempt. He hit from 21 earlier in the game, and he's got this one up and through as well. It stretches the Clemson lead back to 10. Tigers 20, Gamecocks 10. We'll be back in a moment. I think that guy was at the Garth Brooks concert last night, wasn't he? Jack and I felt kind of strange not having a black cowboy hat on in this city last night. Clemson by 10 with 13:01 to go in the 3rd quarter. And Robert Brooks from the 5-yard line with a kickoff return. And another good return out to about the 28. Mouzon knocked him out of bounds there. 68 yards in 5 plays, but remember, 63 of those yards came on the first play of that drive.
Little quick out route to Terry Smith. He puts a move on here, and then only the speed of Frank Adams saved a touchdown. Smith with now about 1,100 yards in receptions in less than 2 years at Clemson.
That's the key in Clemson.
Clemson. Well, they've had some outstanding receivers, Jerry Butler and Perry Tuttle. Of course, the big guy for so many years at the 49ers. I just drew a blank on
Dwight Clark.
Dwight Clark, thank you very much.
South Carolina, as we look at Bobby Fuller's numbers, working from its own 28-yard line. Nice play fake. And he got it to Brooks, who got about 8 and really got leveled by Robert O'Neill in the secondary.
A good mix of underneath and deep plays so far for Bobby Fuller here in the passing category. This is his 10th completion in the underneath area, that is 10 yards or less. He's also completed 6 long passes for 134 yards, so he is out there nearing the 200-yard mark in passing with Brooks' favorite target.
Brooks up to 53 catches on the year, 154 in his South Carolina career. Second, and about a yard, and a first down for Bennett. It's been a while since we've heard from Brandon Bennett.
Well, he was a little tentative, I thought, Brad, in the first half running the football. Against Clemson, you have to decide right now and go. Even if it's the wrong decision, you've got to make one. When you hesitate against their speed, you're in trouble. This time, the young man bursts straight up the middle and gets a first down. Clemson held South Carolina to -1 yard rushing in the first half. Injured player for South Carolina is Kenny Farrell, the junior left guard.
Curtis Godwin is going to come in and take Kenny's spot at that left guard position. South Carolina trailing on their home field by 10 with 12:05 to go in the third quarter.
Kenny Farrell from Goose Creek, South Carolina.
I love that.
Brandon Bennett, the sensational freshman. You see what he's had this year, but he's going to have some big-time numbers before he is done here at South Carolina.
He's had to work for it today, that's for sure. From the shotgun. Fuller's thrown a shovel pass a couple of times from this formation.
Good call, Coach. Good call, Coach.
He picked up about 4.
Well, it's so safe. Like I said, if it's dropped, it's an incomplete pass and it's 2nd and 10. See the pressure coming. We have seen Clemson consistently put pressure from the outside on 1st and 10. That's how you counteract it.
They worked it to midfield with a 2nd and 6. 4 wideouts for Bobby Fuller, playing his final game in the Gamecock uniform. Here comes the blitz. They pick it up, but Eddie Miller can't hold on. Had the right call. Bobby Fuller still planted at the 40-yard line, threw the right pass, but Miller couldn't quite handle it.
Ashley Shepard and Levon Kirkland, both outside linebackers, coming in hard on Bobby Fuller. Eddie Miller is there, but he gators this ball. Short arms it. I think he thought there was a little more pressure around him, and he was a little hesitant about extending full out to make the play.
Carolina 2 out of 5 on their 3rd down conversions. Play action. Got it to the big tight end, who's not going to make it. Matthew Campbell, the H-back, is about 2 yards short, I think, once they spot his forward progress. Maybe 3 yards short of the first down.
Can that freshman Darnell Stevens, number 30, hit you? He's about a 215, 220-pound freshman cornerback. Watch this. Kabong.
Wow.
Down low was James Trapp, and up top, Stevens to deny the first down.
And Stevens goes back, ready to field Darren Parker's punt. Shifting on the offensive front for South Carolina. Parker's kick fielded at the 12 by Stevens. And he weaves his way back around the 18. Got about 6 on the return. The Clemson Tigers and the Gamecocks of South Carolina in their 89th battle. We're at Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia on a gorgeous November afternoon, and Clemson by 10 with 10:19 to go in the 3rd.
At least in terms of field position, the South Carolina offense got enough out there to help out their defense, give them a little bit of a break inside the 20 for Deshaun Cameron and the Clemson Tigers.
Cameron, the senior out of LaGrange, Georgia. Was some kind of day already. Rudy Harris swarmed under by a wave of Garnett. Eric Brown led the charge. Harris got it out to the 22-yard line. We'll give him a couple.
Rudy Harris, as I mentioned before, was a high school All-American, one of the top recruited running backs in the country Maybe the best running back they've ever had out of the New England area high school-wise. The Brockton Boxers, same hometown as the late Rocky Marciano.
Cameron off play action. Got some pressure. Got it out to his tight end Gibson, who's that much short of a first down, about 1.5 yards. Keith Franklin ran down Gibson on the far side.
Third time they have gone to a tight end this afternoon. Mike Samnick had a big catch. Gibson couldn't hang on to one in the first half. He catches his 10th ball of the season. He's a sophomore out of Camden, South Carolina. Was a linebacker at one time.
Here's a big third down for the Gamecocks defense. You would think maybe Cameron on an option here. Nope, they'll blast it. And Harris has it. Out to the 31, maybe the 32-yard line. Marty Dye from his left defensive end spot made the tackle. Rudy Harris, who was shaken up earlier and doesn't show the effects of it here.
They give you that one-back look, Brad, but they've got the 2 tight ends out there, and they really spread you out with a lot of meat on the hoof. And Kenny Hatfield says, you're worried about my quarterback going around the corner, so you can't bunch up the middle on me.
That's just it. Even when they're in a 1-back, they're in a 2-back. Because Cameron's the other guy that can get it done on the ground, and he has today with 74 yards rushing. Blunt put down by Franklin. Franklin's made a couple of nice tackles on this series so far. A pickup of about 1 yard, that's all.
Keith Franklin is a junior college transfer out of Los Angeles, California. And I'm sure at one time when he heard people talk about USC, he was thinking of the Trojans and not the Gamecocks, but he is happy to be here and playing very well.
He actually dropped Blunt for a loss on that one. It's second down and a long 10. Cameron throws on the run. Got it to Harris across the 40 to the 41-yard line. 1 yard shy of the first down, and Franklin made another tackle.
Rudy Harris catching only his 3rd pass of the season. Good action here. They ran this reverse bootleg action, if you will, in the first half, and it was strictly a run. This time they slip Harris out of the backfield. He gets a step on Franklin. It picks up close to first down yardage.
At the 41-yard line, they're 1 yard short. Blunt? I don't think so.
A second effort is going to make this very close. First contact, he definitely didn't get it, but Rodney Blunt, as he was being popped by Mike Landry, watch the extra effort by the sophomore out of Pensacola. Right here, there's no way it's a first down, but Rodney says, I'm going to push it forward.
Bembry, the nose tackle, also in on the stop, but it's close enough to take a look.
Well, what do you think, partner?
I think he's short by inches.
Well, he made it by inches.
Hey.
You had the inches part, right? You notice how I set Brad up. I didn't make my own guess.
That's right. Thanks a lot. My eyes aren't what they used to be. First down by the tip of the football for Ken Hatfield's Clemson Tigers.
Terry Smith coming back into the lineup now. Let's see if they run some kind of play action and try and get him deep. They'll have Ryans and Smith to Cameron's right.
And Dwayne Bryant to the left. So 3 speedy wide receivers in on first down. On the option, Blunt got what he could and knocked out at the 45-yard line. Tony Watkins pushed him out. Robert Gibson had some nice pursuit on Deshaun Cameron to force the pitch.
South Carolina doing a better job of getting defenders out on the flank in the second half against the option. You could see Keith Franklin didn't make the tackle, but he tied up the hook man, the outside blocker on the option, and strung the play out.
Franklin didn't start this game, but he's going to be pretty high up on the tackle chart when it's over. Second and 7. Clemson leading by 10. Cameron throws on the run again. Larry Ryans is going to have a Clemson first down at the 44-yard line of South Carolina.
Boy, an impressive mixture in this drive. Offensive coordinator Larry Vander Hayden doing a little bit of everything here. Had the twin receivers Ryans and Smith to that side. Ryans was the inside man, let Smith clear out the area with a curl route, and he did a little out route underneath him. Cedric Surratt made the tackle, but not before a Tiger first down.
Going to give you an impressive statistic on number 10, Deshaun Cameron, after this snap. First down at the 44 of Carolina. Harris, a fullback, won't give up until he gets at least a couple. Deshaun Cameron, we talked so much about his versatility and the fact that he can run the football. Already has a 31-yard touchdown run to his credit. But look at the numbers today. 90% for 142 yards, and he came in his last 4 games having completed 62% of his passes over the past month, and he certainly has hurt that number today.
Nearly at 60% on the season, Brad, and when you talk about a guy that's thrown 180 passes with only 6 interceptions, that's impressive. Not as much as Matt Blunden, but pretty close.
2nd and 7. He'll put up his 11th pass, and it's complete to his tight end, Gibson. And the ball loose. It'll be Clemson football, though.
And because it was fumbled forward, it will go back to where the ball was fumbled by Gibson.
I think about the 17, maybe 18, somewhere in there.
Mike Landry putting the heat on Deshaun Cameron, but he gets it off, splits that underneath coverage. The ball fumbled away. You can see it went out of bounds at the 11. But the NCAA changed the rule a couple of years ago. When it is fumbled out of bounds, still in the possession of the offense, it goes back to the spot of the fumble. And Gibson might have fell on the ball as part of the reason why he fumbled.
They do bring it back to just outside the 16. Cameron with a pitch to Blunt. Blunt hurdles for the touchdown.
Great concept on this play. Had everybody going left except Blunt, Deshaun Cameron, and the wide receiver, Larry Ryans, who drove the cornerback off. No, it's Terry Smith. See the quarterback? He's 5 yards in the end zone before he realizes it's a running play. Rodney Blunt with his 4th touchdown of the season.
And we give him about a 9-6 for degree of difficulty on that one. Extra point. Up and good. With 6:12 left in the 3rd quarter, Clemson has stretched its lead to 17. We'll be back to Williams-Brice Stadium after this word from our local ACC stations. .6:12 to go 3rd quarter. With Jack Corrigan, I'm Brad Nessler from Columbia, South Carolina, where the Gamecocks are on the short end of the Clemson Tigers, 27-10 as Save kicks off. And Brooks will watch it go out of bounds for the 2nd time in a row, and so South Carolina from the 35-yard line. Tigers have had it twice in this half, and they have scored both times. And Jack, they've got a couple of scoring drives of 80 yards plus, including the one just completed.
Well, I've seen Deshaun Cameron now the last 2 weeks, Brad, and had a chance through other telecasts to watch him this year. Everything we've been saying is right. He is just clicking all the way, and Rodney Blunt going the airborne route for the 3rd touchdown for Clemson today. But Cameron has been very impressive.
Bobby Fuller knowing now that he has to throw, and going deep for Brooks, and almost intercepted, and it'll be a pass interference penalty as draped all over Robert Brooks is Darnell Stevens.
Eric Jeter had an interception, but it would have been for naught. Brooks does a great job here of slowing down and forcing the contact. Fuller puts it up for grabs. See how he slows down there?
Pass interference, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And there's no doubt Bobby Fuller got crushed.
Boy, there was a couple of muggings on that play. Kirkland got Fuller, and Stevens got Brooks. They'll take it for a first down, but they both paid the price a little bit. The ball at midfield now for the Gamecocks.
Well, time's already a factor. There's 21 minutes to go in the game, and South Carolina's not going to get many more opportunities. They have to score on just about every possession.
Here's their 4 wide receiver offense. Fuller deep in the middle. Oh, we almost could have had another flag. Brooks, the intended receiver. Ty Mouzon, who's got an interception today, was there to meet him.
Well, Mouzon's got a right to the ball as well. The South Carolina fans thought there was too much contact as both men dive back for the ball. But I think the fact that you had Brooks on his knees, that they granted some latitude to Mr. Mouzon.
With that much weight on his back, his knees was his only way to stay up at all. 2nd and 10. Here comes a blitz. Batted in the air. A ricochet back. It might have been Ed McDaniel. And then it was almost picked off by Kenzel Jackson. That's how quick those guys are with not only their feet but their hands.
They also ran a safety blitz. Robert O'Neill right there, number 15, was blitzing on the play from the outside. You see him there? And Ed McDaniel gets high in the air, and actually he caught that on the way down. Watch number 93, right side of your screen. He's jumping up, and he's actually on his way down when he got a piece of that one. 3rd and 10.
Fuller pressured again, trying to get it to Brooks, and it's just too far out in front of him. Shepard came from the backside, and Fuller had to step in and get rid of it. 4th down.
Bobby Fuller going down. Ashley Shepard really just ran around the protection. That great speed from their outside linebackers really make it difficult for the tackles. They're just not quick enough, Brad, to hinge back and beat them to a spot.
Parker to punt. Darnell Stevens back for Clemson. Stevens will take it at the 13. Yep. And got to the corner. Nice run back by Stevens out to the 32-yard line. So he came in, did Darnell Stevens, with a punt return average of over 15.5 yards, and he didn't hurt it with that 18-yard run back.
Well, Clemson really in a situation they feel very good about. Their defense has been able to shut things down around midfield both times, and Deshaun Cameron has engineered drives that they put more points on the board here. This one's in the oven.
Cameron wide open. Blunt. Rodney Blunt into South Carolina territory. A 23-yard pickup on that one. I tell you what, Deshaun Cameron has missed only one pass all day. Clemson has not turned the ball over. Have they done anything wrong? I don't think so.
And we're seeing a further unfolding of the Ken Hatfield style. Look at that pop by Howard Hall, the fullback. The evolution of the plays as the game has gone on. They've run that bootleg action. They've run it for a run. They've thrown to the fullback. Now they throw back to the tailback and get good yardage every time.
Everything has seemingly had a purpose to set up the next play. That one no gain as Dixon and Kenny Favors run Blunt out of bounds. Next week should be another beauty. Georgia and Georgia Tech. Ramblin' Wreck hosting the Bulldogs. Both are headed to bowl games. That's next Saturday at noon.
Deshaun Cameron was the MVP of the Hall of Fame game last year. He was masterful in that game. I would put this game this afternoon right up there with that one, Brad.
Well, he's 6 for 6 this half throwing the ball, Jack, and has only one incompletion all day long. You throw in, what, 74 yards rushing and a touchdown on the ground. He's done it all. Here he is again, and he will keep this one. Got about 3 out of it. David Turnipseed made the stop.
He will finish in the top 4. I believe has an outside shot at finishing in the top 3 all-time for Clemson in total offense. You see what happened in the first half throwing. Very accurate, even more accurate for better yardage here in the second half.
11 out of 12, 191 yards on the day. 3rd long for Cameron here. High, but complete. Nice catch by Terry Smith.
Isn't he a joy to watch?
Wow.
Isn't he something? Terry Smith will drive the cornerback off and then break it into a curl route. Cameron's ball's a little high, but great extension and the presence of mind to angle his lower body back towards the field to get that left foot down legally in bounds.
39-inch vertical jump. He used all of it there, I think, and he's got 4 catches for 91 yards on the day. First down, Clemson. End around coming again. Larry Ryans made the first man miss, made a couple more miss, and got it down to the 21-yard line. Rodney Blunt shaken up, trying to throw a block in the Clemson backfield. And Ryans gets up slowly as well and heads to the sideline.
There were some people who wondered if Clemson, even as big as this rivalry is, Brad, might have been a little bit distracted coming into this game. They clinched the ACC title last week at home against Maryland. On Tuesday, they're flying to Tokyo for their game next weekend with Duke. And would they not have their minds set? They've been very focused today.
They sure have. 2nd and 3. Straight up the middle. Howard Hall, the fullback. It'll be close to the first down yardage as we work our way down to 3.5 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. And the Clemson Tigers in front 27-10. They've done it in a variety of ways today, as they're going to have an official's timeout to measure. Deshaun Cameron has a touchdown of 31 yards. Rudy Harris opened the scoring with a 1-yard plunge. Nelson Welch has been involved with a couple of field goals today. And Rodney Blunt on a airborne 16-yard touchdown a few moments ago put the Tigers up 27-10, and here they are back in the red zone again at the South Carolina 18-yard line.
And they have really quieted this partisan Carolina crowd. If you can ever get quiet in Williams-Brice.
Cameron does it himself on 3rd and short. And though he's got Eric Brown, the linebacker, on top of him, Deshaun got enough to pick up the first. He's going to be up near 80 yards rushing now on the day.
Well, it really looked like the momentum at halftime had swung South Carolina's way, down 17-10 at intermission. But that little hitch route that Terry Smith turned 8 yards into 63 yards, culminating in a Welch field goal, has set the tone here in the 3rd period. Look at that number. Wow.
Witherspoon down to about the 13, the bottom of a heap. And it will bring up 2nd down about 5.
Witherspoon, who has seen more playing time after the injury to Ronald Williams, out of Sumter, South Carolina. Same high school that produced outstanding Clemson defensive back Dexter Davis.
2nd and 6 as Witherspoon got 4. And he gets it again. He got to about the 11. Clemson with less than 2 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter with a 17-point lead, just grinding it right now against the Gamecock defense.
Had that stretch at midseason when they got beat by Georgia, barely won against Georgia Tech, and then got tied by Virginia. But it was in that Virginia game, Kenny Hatfield said, that this team came together. They rallied for the tie, and they've just gotten better every week since.
On 3rd down, quarterback draw, Cameron. It's going to be close. Turnip Seed, the first man to meet him. And even if they are short, you wonder if they may not go for it here.
Well, get the first down and go for the touchdown, and that's the fatal blow. This produced a touchdown earlier in the game, but David Turnipseed, coming off his defensive tackle spot, was able to grab Cameron by the leg and stop him about 25 centimeters shy of a first down. Well, I'm on the metric system now.
Yes, you are. I'm still working on the inches myself. 4th down and 25 centimeters for Clemson. 59-yard drive in 10 plays so far. And they'll load up the backfield. Cameron. Now, how do you discern whether or not he got those 25 centimeters? Joe Reeves came over the top, and it's all according to how they spot this one.
Well, what you do is you get him there leaning behind 320-pound Stacy Seegers, and you say, Stacy, fall forward, and I'm going to be right behind you.
And 1st down, Clemson.
Also, the center, Curtis Whitley. David Turnipseed slid through there in a hurry, but not quickly enough.
Deshaun, 22 first downs now for Clemson, Jack.
Excuse me, Brad. Deshaun Cameron last week was teasing Mike Hogwood on the sidelines. He said, am I going to be your MVP for the game? I think he's got a real good shot at it today.
Yeah, he's got a real good shot at it. Harris, touchdown.
For Orange in Garnet Country, and Rudy Harris banging home what should be the clincher.
Boy, he got that 225 going in the right direction, and nobody was going to stop him. Nelson Welch makes it 34-10 Tigers. 30 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. And Clemson running it up now here in Columbia. At halftime, it was 17-10 Clemson. And you can see what the 3rd quarter did to the Gamecocks. Tigers owned that one. Here's Adams. Another good kick return. 2nd time, Frank Adams, the up man's taking a kickoff, and he gives South Carolina excellent field position. But another touchdown drive for Clemson. 69 yards in 12 plays, a little over 5 minutes. Jack, as we said, we're having a hard time finding Clemson doing anything wrong today.
Tell you what, it might be an 18-hour flight for them to Tokyo this week, but with the way they've played here, they'll enjoy every minute.
The only problem is they have to fly with the Duke players. We understand it's one big plane, so there might be a lot of friendships forged on the way to Tokyo, and depending on the outcome of the game, there might be a few people not so happy with each other when they have to fly home together. Rob DeVore with what is going to be the final play of the 3rd quarter. David Davis makes the tackle for Clemson.
It has been just an awesome display by Clemson here in the 3rd period.
They stretch their lead to 24. Brad Nessler and Jack Corrigan at Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia, South Carolina, set to start the 4th and final quarter with Clemson in command, 34-10. Carolina has a 2nd and 9. They'll work from the shotgun, and they have to throw and throw and throw some more. Eddie Miller, a little short of the 1st down, it appears, at the 48-yard line.
Now the pressure takes on a different form, Brad, in that they will have so much coverage in the secondary. Bobby Fuller has time, but it takes longer to get somebody open, and eventually, even though it's a 3- or 4-man rush by the Clemson front line, after a while they get close to you.
They work to get about 6 yards out of that pass play, 3rd and short. All Clemson in the 3rd quarter. They had the ball over 11 minutes in that 3rd quarter. Here's a little flea flicker. DeVore back to Fuller, airing it for Brooks. He's got it. No, he dropped it. That's exactly how you diagram it until the very end, and Robert Brooks doesn't drop many.
He thought he had number 20 at touchdown in his career. The little trick play, the little throwback bomb, and he got beyond Ty Muzan and just didn't put it away.
Perfect throw. And right through the hands.
Now they got to make the 1st down.
4th down. got it, but not by much. Brandon Bennett tripped up and dove forward and got the first down. Boy, you hate to see a play that just works that perfectly until the very end. And Bobby Fuller, who's had an excellent first half, and the entire South Carolina team has struggled against this Clemson club through the third quarter, and now here with 14 minutes, less than 14 to play. South Carolina needs a whole bunch of scoring in a hurry. Pressure. Fuller's going down. And I mean, he got deposited by Buckner.
Brenson Buckner with his 5th sack of the season. He's a little guy, 315 pounds. Out of Columbus, Georgia. He's got 7 brothers, or 7 sisters and 2 brothers, 10 children. I bet at least a couple of them are as big as Brenson is.
I hope he treated some of them better than he just treated Bobby Fuller.
Can you imagine the dinner table?
Oh. I think Brenton got to the table before most of them. 2nd and 20.
Too much time.
And now the tempers start to flare a little bit. Flags fly. And it's broken up in a hurry by the officials.
Arthur Bussey was the Clemson combatant. And I think it was Antoine Rivens for South Carolina. And you'll have the 5-yard walk-off for the delay of game first, and then you'll have the personal foul against Bussey. So they'll walk back 5 and then go forward 15.
And Bussey's trying to explain it to his head coach.
Dead ball foul, delay of game on the offense, 5-yard penalty, followed by a dead ball foul, personal foul, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's what Jack just called. So first down, South Carolina.
As coaches and Kenny Hatfield and I'm sure his staff talked about it, and likewise Sparky Woods and his staff, you get games like this. It's the extra emotion, and you work with your kids in practice very hard to try and tell them to walk away from it, but it's hard to do.
That fires up the crowd, at least momentarily. Fuller going deep for Pitchko. First and goal. South Carolina, 39 yards. Pitchko's second deep ball of the day, Jack.
He has been the surprising choice deep. Fuller worked his way free. Pitchko thought he had a touchdown. Never saw that train named Darnell Stevens that bulldozed him down inside the 10.
First and goal for the Gamecocks. Nice play fake by Fuller. In and out of the hands of Eddie Miller, and a penalty marker down in the end zone.
And more conversation. Eddie Miller discussing things with Chester McLaughlin, and if I was doing that, I would have said, yes, sir, Chester.
Interference on Eric Jeter in the end zone.
Pass interference on the defense in the end zone. Put the ball on the 2-yard line. First down.
(34-10) Clemson, but South Carolina not giving up with 12:05 to go. They moved it to the Clemson 2. Clemson defense trying to get their fans into it down in that end zone, and they've succeeded. DeBoer.
It's been a frustrating year for Rob DeBoer after his great freshman campaign. The young man who came to South Carolina as a baseball player out of Omaha, Nebraska. Ran for over 700 yards a year ago, scores his first touchdown of the season. And now we've got unsportsmanlike conduct against Clemson.
Might be McLaughlin, the guy you talked about a moment ago. Arthur Bussey was tossed out of the game on this drive for his personal foul. It looked like McLaughlin was the guy doing most of the arguing. There he is. It's hard to miss him.
Dead ball foul, unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense. We have a touchdown, 15-yard penalty on the kickoff.
Now with the 15-yard penalty on the kickoff, now you can think about an onside kick,
right?
Because even if it's recovered by Clemson, they'll be, around the 30-yard line or so. So that's not a bad situation. Not a good situation for Kenny Hatfield right now.
Marty Simpson for the point after, and it's up and good. 12 minutes, 3 seconds remaining. A South Carolina team that hasn't quit all year long, still trying to stay in it with Clemson. JP Sports Transportation, furnished by Budget Car and Truck Rental, the official car and truck rental company of the Atlantic Coast Conference. South Carolina with a 57-yard drive and 8 plays, marred by a couple of penalties against Ken Hatfield's Tigers, and now it's 34-17.
And they forgot to mark off the penalty, and now they will. They were lined up back on the 35. Now the 15-yard walk-off for the unsportsmanlike conduct will move it up to the 50.
You can see Clemson anticipating what Jack talked about, an onside kick with 10 men up there. Their hands team thinking that possibly Marty Simpson is going to try to onside kick it here. Lance Easton is the lone deep man for Clemson. He's back at about the 10-yard line. And he's got that football on the tee as though indeed we've got something coming up on the ground. Now he does put it up. So he readjusts it. We'll see what he does with it. Pop fly kick. Easton will take it at the 12. And really got peppered at about the 22. Chris Rump is there, the special teams, and Cedric Surratt also. Clemson now having had it 3 times in the second half, and they've scored 17 points on those 3 possessions.
I think Sparky Woods talking to Marty Simpson about how he wanted him to pooch that. He said, yeah, the pooch is fine, but you hit it about 20 yards too far.
Marty made a motion as if to say, I was trying to get it over that front wall. He got it over 2 walls and got it deep. And Clemson now working from their own 22. Ryan's on the end around to the 29-yard line. Another penalty marker flies in from the secondary.
Boy, they have not been conservative, Clemson, this afternoon. They have used most of the pages in their playbook today.
Got a clip against the Tigers. Is that the 4th time we've seen a reverse today? I think so.
Plus, they also wanted to run the reverse pass. But there has been an abundance of yellow in the last couple of minutes for Ken Hatfield. His team has been heavily penalized here.
Flipping on the offense, 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat first down.
South Carolina has yet to been able to force a turnover. And if they could find one here, they may have a way back into the football game. Right now they trail by 17.
They take Gibson, the tight end, out of the ball game. They'll go with their 3 wide receiver set with Bryant to one side and Smith and Ryans to the other.
Cameron keeps it and goes down at the line of scrimmage. The ball is loose, and there's the turnover.
Robert Gibson hit him, stripped him, and recovered it. That's the triple play right there. I tell you what, this baby's right back in the up for grabs category.
At the 14-yard line, first time they forced the ball to come loose today, and here it is.
Hit, strip, recover. Ball got knocked free. I didn't see who ultimately got the recovery.
And Brooks can't quite find the handle. The ball tipped en route as South Carolina has it at the Clemson 14-yard line.
See if we can get one more look at the turnover and find out who was the man who came away with it for South Carolina. It looked like Jabbar Massey, a defensive end, number 71, a freshman redshirt out of Forest City, North Carolina.
2nd and 10 for the Gamecocks at the Tigers 14. Fuller from the shotgun.
Here they come.
Wants to throw in the middle. He got batted down, and so did the ball. Buckner back there in Fuller's face.
Boy, Levon Kirkland was about as close to encroaching without encroaching as you can get. I mean, he was like a great sprinter anticipating the starter's gun. He was faster than the ball coming back to Fuller in the shotgun, and now South Carolina has to use one of its timeouts here on 3rd and 10 because they don't know what they want to do, and they have to score here.
We'll find out if they can score when we come back. 11:14 to play. It's Clemson by 17. Well, they might really have something to cheer about if their team can put it in the end zone and cut the lead to 10. Sparky Woods' club finally forced a turnover, now trying to take advantage of it. It's 3rd and 10 at the Clemson 14-yard line. Bobby Fuller only 5 of 12 for 63 yards in this half. Look out.
Mr. Outside.
2nd sack of the day for Kirkland. And it'll be 4th down and almost 15 to go.
Comes in untouched. It's so difficult. You've got great speed from Kirkland that he can line up wider than the tackle sees him, Brett, and just with his speed he gets to the quarterback.
Simpson to try a 35-yard field goal. And it hit the upright, no good. So the Gamecocks get nothing out of the turnover.
He didn't hit it very well, but he had enough of it to get it the proper distance, but hit that upright. And well, when they decided to narrow the goalpost this year in college football, it was an interesting and good choice because it has made the kicking game much more adventurous here in college football.
Just ask Jerry Thomas of Florida State.
That's exactly right.
From the 20, Clemson takes over offensively. Cameron with the bootleg, and he'll keep it. And he's got about 12 before he's run out of bounds. And another little mix-up going on over there, and Gibson's part of it. He knows this is the last time he'll play against Clemson.
Well, the Clemson fans that are the population in the end zone bleachers to our left let out a roar for what they thought was a hit too far out of bounds by Gibson.
Earlier this year against North Carolina, Deshaun Cameron rushed for 117 yards and 2 touchdowns and became the first Clemson quarterback since Homer Jordan, who you mentioned earlier, back in '81, to go over the 100-yard mark rushing. If he takes another one, I think he'll have another century mark. He's got 96 on the day. 2 tight ends set for Clemson with a first down, and Cameron will call a timeout.
That's because there was only 1 second on the huddle clock when he looked up and didn't want to take the loss.
Sean will head to the sidelines with 10:22 remaining in the ball game. So we take a look at our Schlitz Malt Liquor game summary. You see the score here with 10:22 to go, 34-17, and Deshaun Cameron's been brilliant, Jack.
300 yards plus in total offense. Just the one mistake when he was stripped of the ball down deep in their own territory, but the defense held and the field goal was missed. South Carolina knew they would have trouble running the ball, but I think they thought they'd be in positive numbers. Carolina facing the best rushing defense in the country. Clemson had been allowing just 61.5 yards a game, so that -1 so far, and you got to figure they're not going to run very much more the rest of the day. Pretty much would ensure that Kenny Hatfield's club will win that category this year, because you won't see a lot of running from Duke next weekend in Tokyo.
And though they've given up some air yards today, that -1 may move them up overall in the country too, as they came in number 3 in the nation in defense. 34-17, the Tigers lead, and they have it first down at their own 32-yard line. To the line of scrimmage goes Rudy Harris, and that's it. Eric Brown, the inside linebacker. Frank Adams from the secondary. This all started to get a little chippy early in the fourth quarter. And there have been quite a few penalty flags and shoving matches since.
Well, you've got a South Carolina group that faces the prospect of going 4 straight years without a win. Some seniors for the Gamecocks that may finish their college career without experiencing that great thrill from their perspective of beating Clemson. And then, of course, the opposite true for the Clemson seniors.
Cameron, now he's over 100 yards on the ground and a lot more. What a run to the 37-yard line, and Norman Green may have saved a touchdown.
What a day for Deshaun Cameron.
31-yard pickup for Cameron. He scored from 31 yards earlier today.
Good head and shoulders fake there. Reads his blockers well, breaks some tackles, and had he allowed Jeb Flesh to get out in front of him and put a block on Norman Green, he might have gone all the way.
Career day for Cameron, 126 yards on the ground. Now it's Blunt doing the work inside the 30, down near the 28-yard line.
Behind the block on the left side of Bruce Bratton and number 59 there, Jeb Flesh. He was lineman of the week in the conference a week ago for his efforts in the victory over Maryland. And the senior out of Morrow, Georgia, has led the way again here this afternoon.
Clemson up by 17 with under 9 minutes to play. And moving it down again with a 2nd down and 2 at the Carolina 29-yard line. And it's Harris. He battles his way to the 23 and a first down. He's got 2 touchdown runs today. That was one of his toughest carries of the afternoon. Tony Watkins finally put him down.
Well, Brad, you mentioned earlier about Clemson being in the top 15. They always feel like they should contend for a national title and be in the top 10. With the way they have performed the last couple of weeks and the game with Duke and the Citrus Bowl on New Year's Day remaining, they may find themselves back in familiar territory by the end of the season. Back in the top 10.
Nice pitch fake by Cameron, and he throws, and it's intercepted. Cedric Surratt with a pickoff, and South Carolina's got another turnover.
Cameron makes the mistake, but at least atone for it a little bit. If he doesn't make the tackle on Surratt, this might have been a touchdown. Rolls out Gibson, trying to force the throw. He does so, and again, underthrows the ball, didn't have the elbow up, short-armed it. But he's the only Clemson guy on this side still on his feet. If he doesn't tackle Surratt, maybe no one does.
So Deshaun's got his name in the books for just about everything today, including a tackle. But South Carolina's got it back at its own 16-yard line. Fuller over the outstretched arms of Eddie Miller. I want to give a special mention to a guy that's seen the majority of the games between these teams. This is the 89th meeting, and for the 52nd consecutive time, Earl Hunter is watching the Gamecocks and the Tigers. Earl, you're something else. 52 times he's seen these two teams play. 52 in a row. I don't think you and I are going to have quite that longevity.
I hope I do, but I'm not going to count on it.
2nd and 10 for the Gamecocks. Here comes a blitz and a draw play, and it goes nowhere. Albert Haynes with the carry, but Chester McLaughlin stayed home, made the stop. Don't forget, Georgia and Georgia Tech will battle next week at Bobby Dodd Stadium in Atlanta. Steve Martin and Jack Corrigan will be there for what should be a beauty. Noontime start. The Ramblin' Wreck and the Bulldogs. We approach the 7.5-minute mark remaining here in Columbia. It's 34-17 Clemson. Bobby Fuller. Here comes McLaughlin. He got rid of it. And Haynes made the catch out at the 22. Bobby's going to feel like he was under a batch of bulldozers when this one's over, I think.
Well, you know you're going to get the pressure anyway. Now in a situation where you throw on almost every down, the pressure increases that much more. McLaughlin again with the pop, and Haynes had to pull that down from the top of his hat to keep that play alive.
And it's 4th down and 4, deep in their own territory. South Carolina forced to go for it, and if they don't pick this up, it's just like handing it to Clemson.
Watch Kirkland on the right side of your screen.
Fuller intercepted. Stevens.
First interception in the college career of Darnell Stevens, but I can make a safe bet it won't be his last.
Brad Nessler and Jack Corrigan as the sun starts to hide a bit behind Williams-Brice Stadium. And no place for South Carolina to hide right now, as a lot of the fans have started heading to the exits with the Tigers up by 17, and they have the ball deep in South Carolina territory. Rudy Harris with the carry, and we're under 6.5 minutes.
Still with the first unit for the Clemson Tigers as they want to put a finishing score on the board. You might say with 17 points to their favor that you'd start substituting, but in a series like this, I think you do one more, and maybe the fact that you've got a lot of seniors out there who want to savor every minute of it.
Second down, almost 10 to go for Clemson as we're under 6 minutes in the ball game. Cameron keeps it and goes down to a 1st and goal at about the 7-yard line. And an interesting quote, these two teams get together the week of this game, and there's a lot of stories and a lot of insults swapped back and forth, maybe best said by one of the Clemson kids.
One of the Clemson players said that he really enjoys winning in Columbia because he says, I love to see all those South Carolina fans leave Williams-Brice Stadium early. And some of the folks dressed in garnet and black have certainly headed for the exit. Most of the folks in orange are going to stay for every second.
They might have to kick them out of here. Down near the 5-yard line goes Harris as he dives over the right side. And we're down to 5 minutes to play. Clemson will go to 8-1-1 with this victory. And as we mentioned, they play Duke in Tokyo next weekend to wrap up their regular season, as they've already wrapped up their ACC title last week. And then it's on to the bowl season where they've been so successful over the years.
Cameron looking up at the huddle clock and will keep his team in the huddle till they get down to about 12 seconds, and now they break it. He'll snap it just before the 25 seconds expire.
Cameron on the pitch, broken up, trying to find the handle, South Carolina, and they couldn't. Rocky Clay came up from the secondary. He just couldn't quite find the grip of that thing.
Booted it out of bounds. Boy, Rocky Clay nearly caught that on the fly.
Had he caught it on the fly, he'd have gone about 85 yards for a touchdown.
Got an injured Clemson player. It's Deshaun Cameron.
And now what you talked about a couple of minutes ago, why are so many of the Clemson starters still in there with the possibility of injury? And here it is.
Left ankle.
Left ankle. Cameron with over 300 yards of total offense today. And the only mistakes he's made have been here in the fourth quarter, and we'll get another look here. I think Landry got him low.
Yep. Mike Landry popping on that left leg, and you see Rocky Clay's effort, who got in the way of the pitch try to Rodney Blunt. Watch right side of your screen right there. Yep, got his left foot underneath Landry.
Well, Deshaun obviously done for the day. He appears to be putting a little pressure on that left ankle. He shakes his head as if to say, I'm all right. And after rushing for 136 yards today, that 40-yard walk to the Clemson bench is going to be the worst of the day for him. But what a day he's had. Cameron 136 yards rushing, 206 throwing the ball for a 342-yard total offensive afternoon.
Of course, I don't know how they figure that statistically, if that pitch remains his responsibility, so he'll lose about 15, 20 yards to that total because of that fumble going all the way back to the 25-yard line.
Good point. Richard Moncrief in at quarterback here in the final 4 minutes. Pump fakes and goes deep. Touchdown!
Terry Smith. Wow. Kenny Hatfield making like Bobby Cox of the Braves. Well, let's go to the bullpen. I want the left-hander.
And Moncrief says, I think I'll get involved here in a hurry. 1 for 1 here for Moncrief.
Although you got to give a lot of this credit to Terry Smith. He just turned around Eric Anderson. He knew where the ball was. Anderson didn't because of the pump fake.
Welch for the point after. It is 41-17.
Deshaun saying, I'm all right, and I'm glad the other guy got the job done for me.
Well, Deshaun's only got 2 games left in his career, and this guy's got quite a few left in his.
Sophomore from Montgomery, Alabama, and the sophomore from Clemson, South Carolina, Terry Smith.
5 catches, 117 yards for Smith, and that touchdown. (41-17). And this will not go in the books as one of the most memorable of the '89 matchups between the two clubs. This morning, the local paper, for the most part, said the 1977 game between these two teams was the best ever in the series that started in the late 1800s. Now, this one was still a little bit in doubt, if you will, after Clemson fumbled deep in their own territory, and you thought, well, if South Carolina puts it in, it's a 10-point game, and then hold on to your hats. But South Carolina unable to capitalize on that turnover, and Clemson just continues to pad their lead. Our Schick most valuable players, Deshaun Cameron. Could there have been another choice for Clemson? With well over 300 yards in total offense. Robert Brooks playing his final game in a Gamecock uniform, their all-time leader in touchdown catches, and he'll finish just short of Sterling Sharp in a couple other receiving categories in the all-time list for South Carolina. And as part of the Schick Most Valuable Player Award Scholarship Program, Schick will donate $1,000 to the Atlantic Coast Conference to be distributed among the member institutions under a conference-approved plan. Schick Tracer, the only razor which flexes to trace every curve on your face. Wright Mitchell in at quarterback now for South Carolina. with this one out of hand, and he completes his first pass to Albert Haynes for about 8 yards.
Mitchell, a junior out of Atlanta, Georgia. 8, now 9 for 18 on the season. Built more like a running back than a quarterback with those dimensions.
And Bobby Fuller has thrown his last pass for South Carolina and ends up with some impressive numbers both on the season and the career charts for South Carolina. Mitchell over the middle. Out to the 48-yard line goes Roderick Howell. And we're under 4 minutes to play in the game.
Both teams liberally substituting now. You want to give a lot of your young men an opportunity to say, I played in this great rivalry.
First down, South Carolina from its own 48-yard line. Mitchell over the middle. Got it to Seam Penny, who got peppered right away in the secondary. Bobby Fuller. There's what he did today, 254 yards. So that puts him very close to 5,000 career yards throwing the ball. And 28 touchdowns, his third all-time on the South Carolina list.
5,000 career yards in 2 seasons.
Not bad, huh? Mitchell in trouble, and this one's going all the way to the seats. Somebody one-hopped it in row 3.
Kenzel Jackson was one of the guys putting the pressure on.
That almost got Fig down there on our truck camera, didn't it? Nice duck, Fig. We've almost lost a couple guys today. They're hanging in. There he Fig had a he had a chance at that ball.
Yeah. Come on, Fig, get those hands up.
Nice hands, Fig. Gee whiz. Should have had it, could have had it. You got to dive for those kind. We're under 3 minutes, and Mitchell tries to call timeout right when the snap's on its way back to him. .258 to play in this game. Deshaun Cameron's 322 yards of total offense, we just heard, is the third highest single total in Clemson history.
You see the teams in the conference that are going bowling. Virginia to the Gator Bowl. Clemson, of course, winning the conference, going to the Citrus Bowl. NC State will be in Atlanta. Georgia Tech will play on Christmas Day in Hawaii, and Florida State in the Cotton Bowl. You see the numbers there. And of course, with North Carolina winning today, they have a possibility of going to a bowl game as well. The Independence Bowl has been a rumored potential spot for the Tar Heels if they get a bowl invitation.
They would take on Georgia in that one. Georgia's who you'll see next week against Georgia Tech in Atlanta. Sean Cameron moving around well, and now in one spot over there on the Clemson sideline. I think he's okay. He sure was okay for most of the 4 quarters today for the Clemson Tigers. They'll be tough to beat no matter who they play in the bowl game with him at the helm. He plays that well. I wouldn't want to be California trying to run him down. At the 46-yard line. 3rd and a mile for Mitchell, and he's hit as he throws. And did Brooks catch it?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Had another one of the total for Robert Brooks, who's had a good day. Our
Brooks.
Carolina MVP. Look at the concentration.
That's his 6th of the day, 54 for the season, and 155 for his career. So he's going to end up about 14 catches shy of Sterling Sharp's all-time South Carolina receiving record. 4th down, and he's got another one, and he's got a first down at the 17-yard line of Clemson. Well, we picked the right guy for the Gamecocks, didn't we, Jack?
I don't think there's any doubt. We've seen some great work by the wide receivers, young and old. The youngster Terry Smith for Clemson, and the veteran Robert Brooks here for South Carolina. Just stayed with that ball as Norris Brown got a piece of it. Robert said, try with the left hand. No, try the right hand, left hand, the face mask. Now I got it.
On the ground to the 15 is Albert Haynes, senior, playing his final game. We're down under a minute and a half to go. And South Carolina will take a timeout.
Well, they'd like to add one more score to make it a little more respectable.
We've got a timeout. We'll take one as well. 1:26 to go with Clemson in the driver's seat. 2nd down and 8 for the Gamecocks at the 15 of Clemson. Mitchell got away and got a touchdown. $15 yards for the score.
Dwight Mitchell felt the pressure, stepped up, and then broke 2 tackles. Saw the best way to the end zone was a straight line with a final lunge.
Simpson to try to put on the 24th point, and he does. And with 1:19 to go, as we said about South Carolina, they don't give up, but they still trail by 17.
This Exxon ACC Game of the Week was brought to you by Exxon Phase 4 gasolines. For high performance and cleaner engines, rely on new Phase 4 gasolines from Exxon. By the Jefferson Pilot Life Insurance Company. For insurance and financial services, better call Jefferson Pilot. By Diet Pepsi and caffeine-free Diet Pepsi. You got the right one, baby. By Roses. More ways to save every day. That's our promise. By Hanes Activewear. Hanes underwear and Hanes socks. Nothing else feels so right. By Delta, the airline of ACC country. We love to fly, and it shows. And by Schlitz Malt Liquor. No one does it like the Bull.
Onside kick coming up from Marty Simpson. Goes to the right with everyone else to the left. And
I think it was touched before it went 10 yards.
I think so too, at about the 9-yard mark, or it may have ended up being a pretty good kick.
Interesting little wrinkle there. They lined up 8 guys to Simpson's left and then kicked it right.
So Clemson takes over with 1:19 to go. Moncrief, who's 1 for 1 on the day. So we take another look. Here's the way you try to fool the opposition.
It was touched just before it got that far, and then it was still recovered. Kenota Reed touched it early, and then Eric Jeter still recovered it anyway for Clemson.
Oh, that's a big hit by Frank Adams on Doug Bolin.
Well, Frank Adams will be back for some more Carolina-Clemson confrontations.
This Clemson team, though, will become only the 2nd group in the last 50 years to go 4 straight against the Gamecocks. This will be 4 in a row now for the Clemson seniors. They did it one other time in the 80s. Then you go all the way back to the 40s before a group could go their entire 4 seasons and not lose to South Carolina. Bolin again on the carry, and we're down at the half-minute mark.
That might be the final one, because it'll be less than 25 seconds by the time they set the ball. Kenny Hatfield accomplishing another goal.
And he may still end up with a 10-win season before it's all cut and dried. Duke in Tokyo next week. And the Citrus Bowl lies ahead. Penalty markers down as Bolin takes it and goes out of bounds on the final play of the game. I don't think they're going to worry about the penalty marker. Clemson wins it by a score of 41-24. We'll be back after this word from our local ACC stations.